Maintaining your professional self as well as being a human being is like walking on a tightrope. This month we've been looking at how you maintain your professional self and remaining human is like walking on a tightrope. This month I've been looking at tips on how we can remain professionals as well as remember that we are human beings. I have a special guest as always. He has a very good track record in HR. He was once the head of HR at Equity Bank. He later moved to KCB, where he was the director of HR, and to Uganda Development Bank, where he was the HR director, and is currently the director of strategy and corporate affairs of Uganda Development Bank. He's none other than Allan Joshua Mwesiga. Allan,
it's a
hi.
pleasure. Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I do appreciate it. I know you're very, very busy, but thank you for giving me time to come and just speak about how to be professional with you. I have a few friends I mentioned too that I'm having Allan Joshua on the show, and they're like, he's the best person to speak about this because clearly you have a history in being, maintaining the line between being professional and being human. But before we start, I'd like to break the ice. When I was in university, I always imagined HR was a woman's job. So when I come and find a gentleman like you, very respected, doing quote unquote a woman's job, but doing it very well and leading the department and heading and coming directly, is HR something you're passionate about? Was it something you wanted to do all your life, or how did you end up in HR?
I think for one to do the HR job, first of all, there has to be an attraction towards helping and working with people. So for as long as you have that, I think you can do well in HR, regardless of what qualification you hold. You can even be an engineer for all I care, but for as long as you have, first of all, the interest to work with people and the art to deal with different human relations, human circumstances and situations, you can do HR.
So you basically just love working with people.
Exactly.
And I think from what I've heard, the people who have worked with you, you're really excellent at what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, this month we were speaking about being professional and being human. There is a very thin line, especially for us who work in HR department. How do you draw the line? Because earlier I was saying we were human beings before we were professionals.
Mm-hmm.
But people think being professional means you lose your human side and just push that away and say, okay, this is what the policy says, this is what we're supposed to do. I don't want to hear anything about you doing. So I admire you for the position you hold right now. You've really raised the demands, but I do not think a big percentage of that is because you've been professional all the way. I think you've included some humanness there. So I don't know, what are your thoughts?
I think as HR, like you rightly put it, you have to strike a balance between professionalism, or rather you have to be professional all the time, but then you have to strike a balance between the human side of individuals that work for you in a particular company and the expectations of the company. What am I trying to say? You can only deliver results, and deliver results well through people. And people can only work well if they're at peace. So as HR, you're in the business of managing human relations. I'll give an example. For instance, someone may be falling behind in their targets. Yes, it's your role as HR, first of all, to help in the first place with the targets or performance objectives clear. And if they were clear, did they have the necessary support in terms of skills, in terms of processes, in terms of competence to deliver on those jobs? So if they fall short and you have to take even a hard decision, can you do it with humanity? Can you be humane about it? You don't have to gloat because you're taking a hard decision on someone, because your decisions affect more than the individual. Probably they have a family that depends on them. So there's a delicate balance you have to strike as HR. But that doesn't mean that because you care about people, then you forget about the company and what it stands for and the aspirations and the expectations from a particular individual. So it's a very delicate balance.
There's a very thin line there.
Yeah.
I like what you said about peace, like human beings. I had someone once say the most expensive and most important thing in the world is peace. But someone I was speaking to earlier was telling me, if you're going to ensure that people are peaceful, you're going to be soft on people, how do you do it in such a way that they don't take you for a ride and take it for granted? Because the way human beings are designed is, if I called you every day, Josh, Monday I call you, check on you, Tuesday I call you, check on you, Wednesday I call you, check on you. If I don't call you on Thursday, you automatically feel entitled. And you pick up the phone and be like, Ruby, why don't you call? So how do you push that, I'm being human, I care about your peace, because at the end of the most important resource is the human resource. If the human resource is not happy, the business is going to collapse. But how do you, it goes back to striking a balance, but I'm looking for ways we can be intentional in that to ensure that the people themselves do not take it for granted and feel entitled and say, after all, I can just, with Josh, I can pretend and say I had a bad day. That's what I did with my target. Or I have problems at home. Or I was tired, because human beings feel. I get tired, I get hungry, I get frustrated, I get sad, so, yeah.
Again, I think, in certain times, some of these actually come, can I say, naturally, or you're blessed to have a certain quality or you're not. So it may be at times difficult to be intentional about being human. It just comes. It's natural. It's inborn. But maybe just to state that the also consistency matters, because people would know that there is a standard that needs to be followed, but you don't enforce it as a policeman would enforce with a stick or whatever it is. There are certain expectations, and when you level standards, there are certain expectations. People know that Josh likes this, and for as long as we do it, we are okay. And let's be human about it. It's a workplace. It's a fun place to be. We spend most of the time here, so let's be happy while we're here. But if we don't achieve what we are meant to achieve, then because you're making my job hard, I'm supposed to help you deliver. So if you're not delivering, so you're making it hard for me as well. So for as long as those expectations are leveled, I think it becomes easy for one to be human, but at the same time professional.
How do you level these expectations? Because I'm sure you have a team of people who are reporting to you. Do you sit down with them and tell them, okay, I expect you to do ABCD. I expect you to treat me like this. Do you also listen to their expectations? Is it something that is trainable? Because at your level, I'm sure you probably have a gazillion people reporting to who you can't individually meet. Do the managers under you have? Are you saying they should also be trained to deliver in that area? Find out what the expectations of your team are and what are their expectations of you. Earlier before this, I was telling you about boundaries. People need to know what are Josh's boundaries. What does Josh like? What doesn't Josh like? But it's very easy for me, the subordinate, to know my boss's boundaries. But my boss may not know my boundaries. Maybe I'm not a morning person. I'm really not a morning person. Many. I know you're not a morning person, but my boss doesn't know that. Or my boss is maybe a last minute kind of person, or my boss is like a person who prepares early. So is this a conversation we are supposed to have as employees? Is it not a conversation? Is it something we observe? How do you?
I think I'm actually happy we're talking about the topic of being human, and I think part of being human is to study the people that you work with, or the people that you relate with, and create opportunities to meet with them, even informally. know about what interests them in and outside the office. How do they like to be treated? You can tell, and like you're saying, if you're human about how you relate with others, I think it's very easy to know their interests, and therefore it gives you an insight on how you can relate to them or treat them. Yes, it's important to solicit feedback about how you're leading your teams, and as a head of department or as a team leader, it's very important for you to create that kind of atmosphere or environment where people can actually freely tell you to your face that, you know, boss, you're great on these issues. This is where you're slacking, and would expect some improvement. And be calm and mature about it and human about it, because everyone has faults here and there, and people that genuinely care about you, care about your growth. Your own subordinates may actually care about your growth, and they're saying, you know, this guy is doing job B, job A, he's my supervisor, but he can actually grow into job B, and for him to get there, he probably needs to work on ABCD. So even your junior can actually give you feedback. It shouldn't be the other way around. I'm your boss. This is what I expect. This is my read of you. But what's your read of me? How can I improve as an individual?
And it also works across same level.
Certainly, yeah, certainly.
Okay, we're almost going to the end of this, but I just want to know, I have spoken to people you've worked with in the 3 different companies you work with, and there's always something about Allan Josh, you know, and his human side. There's always something, and I'm sure it's not about increased salary or whatever, but there's something about Allan Josh. So I don't know, I want to know, what is it that you do that leaves a mark? You know, what is it? Maybe just give me like some practical examples. Like when I was in equity, I made sure there was ABCD, you know, and then when I went to KCB, I did this, and in UTB, there is this. Because you've still remained a professional. People think that to be a professional, you have to be mean, you have to be, you know, but you've still remained a professional who's continuing to go through the ranks. Give me just a few, maybe 3 things that you have done that have left an impact, you know, and that you feel made it easy for you to work with the teams that you work with.
Okay, I'll answer you this way. I think, like I'd said, part of being human actually comes naturally.
So it's not something you can learn.
No, you can learn a few things and say, you know, I've been acting this way, I'll purpose maybe to have more informal relations and interactions with my team and all that. But part of it actually comes naturally. So I may not easily define and say, you know, I made sure of ABCD. But maybe what I can say generally is creating an environment within the office, creating an environment that is very amiable. You know, if I have an issue, I'm comfortable telling my boss about it. I'll tell you, 1 or 2 people, even before they resign their jobs, they'll tell me, boss, so I'm being headhunted for ABCD, what do you think?
Yet they're under you.
And yet they're reporting to you.
So how do you remain human about that profession?
Yeah, we sit down and ask, what are the considerations? What are the pull factors, first of all, and what are the push factors? For the push factors, there are things that we can work on. If it's the pull factors, maybe I'm getting a little more pay, I'm getting maybe bigger responsibilities, I'm actually growing and stuff like that. It's actually an encouragement, because you've mentored someone to actually grow into another role which you may not be able to give them or to consider them for in your particular organization. So I think that creating that kind of environment really helps. At times you actually have to be purposeful about it and say, you know, and those are some of the things of, for instance, accepting to take feedback genuinely without fear of reprisal or whatever. Someone talks to you about how you relate to them and how they like to be treated, and you respect that and work on it. Aside of that, I think having a genuine interest in the people that you work with and looking at them, not that they have an HR officer that reports to me, but this HR officer, what are their interests? What do they like?
Both in and out of work.
Exactly, and especially out of work. What do they like? When is their birthday? What's the name of their parents? What do they do? Do they have a child? What's the child's name? Or their spouse's name? What do they do? Are there interests that you share as individuals? And when you create that kind of relationship with people that you work with, I think it makes it so easy, and the human side actually comes out very obviously.
They become your friends.
Exactly. I'll tell you, I still have a network of people that I have led in various organizations. We no longer work together. But
you're still...
We are still very tight friends. They are referring. I'm their go-to person, even on non-professional issues, non-HR related issues. They come and consult, or even HR issues on thinking of doing this course. What do you think? I'm not their supervisor, but we have that relationship from way back.
I like some of the examples you've given. The genuine interest in people knowing what someone's father's name is, someone's daughter's name, because we are told to believe that if I'm to be human to you, it needs to be expensive. I need to take you out for dinner, I need to buy you a drink, I need to, it really doesn't. It's just a matter of me coming and saying, oh, so how is David? David is maybe someone's son, or how is this, or how's your weekend? I heard you attending a wedding. Such things build that rapport. So in short, you're saying the more you treat people as human beings, the more they respect you as professionals.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
and maybe just to add to that, I know it might be a cliche, but it's to juxtaposition and say that the way I'm treating this person, is it the same treatment I wouldn't mind receiving from them if they were my boss, for instance. So the moment you understand that, the kind of treatment I'm giving this person is not the treatment I would really expect or have loved to get from someone else, then that gives an insight that you need to change.
Would you say that if you have a good relationship with the people you work with, it makes it easy for you to rebuke them because they're wrong? Because people may mistake our friendship because I'm friends with the boss, I can get away with anything. Just yesterday you were asking me about my son, so how can you come and tell me I made a mistake?
Yes.
So would you say it makes it easier to rebuke the person, or it actually makes it harder?
It doesn't make it any hard for me to rebuke someone for not doing their job, because we have that relationship. Again, I've talked earlier about boundaries and having a structured way you approach things. Work is different from the relationship that we have. If anything, actually, it's much easier, because if someone feels constrained, for instance, they don't have, say, the necessary competence to do an assignment that you've given them. If you've created that relationship or that kind of interaction, the person will actually tell you, rather than think, my boss might think I'm useless if I own up and say. They will be in a corner stressing and maybe calling someone else asking, how do I do this, rather than actually open up. And you talked about if someone doesn't deliver. I think for as long as they understand that, this person, actually this boss is my friend, they actually don't want to let you down, because it will hurt your friendship, it will hurt your interaction. So the degree of accountability is actually higher. There's even social accountability that I don't want to disappoint my friend.
And even if they let you down, they genuinely want to fix it.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Josh. But before we end, I just want you to give your 2 cents on the whole topic, professional, not human. What are your thoughts about it? Not necessarily from a leader, subordinate point of view, but even like as peers, is it something that should stop only at work? Should we take it out of work? What are your thoughts on being professional but remaining human as well? Which one weighs more power to you?
Okay, I think in this era, we need to be, and most organizations actually, they all state, human resources are our biggest resource, our biggest asset in the company, and indeed they are. So you need to understand that the people that you work with, the people that are working for you, if you're a team leader or the head of an organization, they are actually people. So treat them as people if you actually want the best out of them. So to me, the whole idea that you need to be human but yet professional actually rings bells for me. It brings the whole ethos that I stand for back home. Because how do I do my best when I'm not treated as a human being? I'm not a robot. I have feelings, I have emotions. I'm not saying I'm emotional, but I have emotions.
Your words, not mine.
Just saying that yes, you're human. There's a human being that you're dealing with before they actually become professional. Because even being professional, it's there are certain, what can I say? It's intentional. It's something that you've done intentionally as a human being to transition to being a professional or to act professionally. So it's very important to treat people as human beings.
Thank you so much, Allan. I appreciate it. I hope everybody has picked something from what we have said. I'll see you all next week, and remember, you're the CEO of you.